easily the most aspirational car in the RPM TV long-term garage has been this one. The BMW M3 Coupe M-DCT. And it doesn't take very long to find out exactly why this car is so desirable. A little bit of time behind the wheel tells you that this is a thoroughbred sports car, and in fact there's many an exotic sports car owner that doesn't like this vehicle at all. That's because it has the ability to trounce many a so-called exotic costing a lot more dosh, while still offering the space and the practicality of a conventional two-door. The M3 joined our long-term evaluation program in May last year and soon proved that it's equally at home on road and track. One of the reasons is the engine, a high-revving V8 producing 309 kilowatt and 400 newton meters, while the rev limiter is set at a dizzying 8,400 RPM. It sounds terrific, but goes even better. The power unit drives the rear wheels via, in this case, BMW's 7-speed M dual-clutch transmission. It offers the convenience of F1-style shift paddles behind the steering wheel and allows very quick, very positive gear changes. Developed by BMW's M division using the E92 BMW 3 Series Coupe as a starting point, the M3 is much more than a performance-tuned Beamer, as we found out during the 12 months in its company. There are so many plus points about the M3 that it's very difficult to list them all, but let's just say that it's the sheer breadth of capability of the M3 that makes it so special. It's tractable and smooth around town, in fact very easy to drive, but if you're on the open road and you give it stick, it really does feel like a proper sports car. And that's really the most accurate description of the M3. It was an obvious candidate for last year's RPM performance car feature, where we pitted a string of hot machines against each other in a combined acceleration and braking test on the Old Tabanchu Airport runway. The long drive there highlighted another M3 talent, comfort and luxury. The cabin is superbly appointed and beautifully finished, with all the mod cons one could wish for. The superb sport seats, a full house audio system with hard drive, and drive-focused ergonomics made long-distance trips a pleasure. The performance feature testing proved that the M3 can hold its own against some fairly serious machinery. Even in the company of cars like the Nissan GT-R and the Audi R8 V10, the M3 impressed with its sheer speed, its composure, its ease of use, and the size of the grin on the face of everybody who drove it. In styling terms, the M3 treads a fine line between understatement and aggression. Visual keys such as the power bulge on the bonnet, the big wheels, the larger air intakes, and the 4 exhaust tailpipes instantly set it apart from a normal 3 Series Coupe, as does the lower suspension. In fact, when the dust had settled, the M3 could only be beaten by the all-wheel drive GT-R and the R8 V10 in our 0 to 160 km/h to 0 test. Having an M3 at our beck and call also made other comparisons possible, such as our long-termers encounter with a more extreme limited edition M3 Frozen Edition, a uniquely South African model developed to celebrate 25 years of M3. The Frozen is spectacular, but in terms of overall balance and breadth of application, our standard M3 remained the better package. We also met up with another BMW hot rod, a 135i Coupe fitted with a host of BMW performance goodies. Of course, the two cars bat on different wickets, but it did highlight just how complete and well sorted the M3 is. As for the negatives, well, they were few and far between. The negatives around the M3 are all about money. This is an expensive car to buy, more than R1 million as it stands there, and it's an expensive car to run because it's very thirsty, and of course, as we all know, petrol is becoming very expensive too. There's a 5-year motor plan, but this is not a cheap car to own. When we took delivery of the long-term M3, the price of the test unit was just short of R1.1 million, although that did include a long list of options. The leather upholstery looked good, but the driver's side seat bolster showed some signs of wear. There's no doubt which car in our long-term fleet is the performance king.
I must be honest, I didn't really enjoy it that much. No, I'm kidding, I loved it. It was fantastic. There's really nothing to fault about it, aside from the seat that we've mentioned, but as a driving machine, as an everyday machine, it kind of fits every role that you want it to. The only thing is, it's a little bit difficult to not drive it hard all the time, and that can get you into a bit of trouble.
Nice trouble. As you'd expect, the M3 spent much of its time at RPM being driven with a certain amount of vigour. As a result, the original Michelin Pilot sport tyres were showing signs of severe wear after about 17,000 kilometres, and we could feel it in the way the M3 became more easily unsettled, especially in the wet. We had no choice but to order a new set of boots. The Continental Sport Contact 3s were expertly fitted and balanced by the Fokker Tiger Wheel and Tyre in Randburg, and the M3's dynamic talents were instantly restored. But it also proved the vital role of the tyres on a car like this. The Conti Sport Contact 3 is a high-performance tyre with an asymmetric tread pattern for shorter braking distances. Its design employs a supple compound and specifically shaped tread grooves for optimum grip in all conditions and outstanding performance in the wet. Rather than just looking for a replacement tyre in the right size, we also took speed rating and load characteristics into account, aspects vital to consider in a high-performance application such as this. Fuel consumption was never going to be one of the M3's strongest virtues, especially considering that we made the most of the performance on offer at every opportunity. Our average over the period was 17 litres per 100 kilometres. It's quite possible that this E92-based M3 with its normally aspirated engine will go down as one of the world's most complete muscle cars ever. And of course, there will be future M3s, but with the move towards smaller engines and turbocharging becoming increasingly prevalent, it's doubtful whether the M3s of the future will be as special, in fact, as magic as this car is. It's easy to describe the BMW M3 as fast, exciting and dynamically superb, but after 12 months we also know that the M3 is docile enough to cope with traffic, comfortable enough for long trips and practical enough for a family of 4. Add a 4.6 second 0 to 100 time, 250 km/h top speed and spectacular handling to that equation and you have the most complete true performance car we've ever experienced. With 4 litres of high-tech V8 delivering so much muscle and performance, fuel consumption will always be this M3's Achilles heel. But it's money well worth paying for a car that thrills at every turn and can scare the pants off some exotic car drivers in the process.